Hey Narwhals, I'm your host Luke Narwhal, and welcome back to another weight loss video. Hope you enjoy. I am officially out of the obese category, and I'm now considered overweight. Obviously, overweight is not good, but I've been obese for most of my life, and it's nice to see my BMI under 30. I never really paid much attention to the BMI, but I guess it just feels good to know that I'm not obese anymore, knock on wood. The unfortunate thing is that the more I lose, the fatter I feel. Evidence like my size large t-shirt fitting like an extra large, and my bath towel actually wrapping around my body instead of being left open a few inches says otherwise. I've changed my goal twice now, and I know that once I hit the 145 pound benchmark, I'll want to go to 130. Currently I'm 158, was 180. 195 was my absolute highest, but that was 2 or so years ago. I'm hoping that these body image issues I'm currently having pass, and don't cause me to end up with an ED, or just a bad relationship with food in general. I do feel confident sometimes, like when I'm wearing my work uniform, I got new pants and I feel like a lot less sloppy. Anyway, I'm now overweight instead of obese, and that's nice. But to me, it's not enough, even though I know weight loss is not linear and it takes longer than 2 weeks. I'm 20, and I hope these feelings pass, because I know the road I could be heading down. Thanks all. So I knew I wanted to hit that healthy weight of 145 pounds. I've refined my goal to be 120 to 145, but that is my final goal. I started at 205 pounds. First goal was to get below 200. Then it was to get to my pre-COVID weight, 185, and then the overweight and obese line at 177, which I just hit yesterday. Next is getting to the 165 level, which I haven't been since before I was married. I hope to reach that goal by Christmas. The last time I was 165 at Christmas was 2015. I figure that it took me 7 years to lose myself, and it will take me 2 years to find myself again. For me, having small goals breaks up that big goal, and I know that it won't magically be perfect once I reach 145. I figure that I've lost a lot of muscle mass, so my goal at 145 is to keep up with the diet, but add in a little more toning and exercise to continue reducing BMI and toning back into a strong and healthy me. If I get there by 2023, I'll be super pumped. I think you're doing an amazing job. I'm cheering for you. One thing I always struggle with is moving the goalposts, as my therapist so aptly explained to me that I do. My goal weight was 190 pounds. I'm 196. Before I had even reached my goal, I'd already changed my goal weight to 168, because that puts me at a normal BMI for the first time in, well, ever. We need to set goals with appreciable rewards, and make sure to celebrate it when we get there. I set a goal of 210, and I'll finally get to my first tattoo. I have talked about it for half my life, but never committed to just doing it. When I reached 210, I sent out the emails with my sketch, booked an artist, and finally got it done. I set a goal, reached the goal, rewarded that goal with a non-food based reward, and I continued to work to the next goal. My favorite meal I've ever prepared was Nashville hot chicken sandwiches on grilled Texas toast with comeback sauce. My kids loved them when I made them, said it was the best meal I had ever made. I told them when I get below 190 pounds, I'll make them the sandwiches. I'll fry my chicken unbreaded and eat it without a bun because I'm doing keto, but make their sandwiches the right way. Why? Because seeing them geek out over their favorite meal is a nice reward for me, and I don't want to reward myself with food. You should be really proud of yourself. Congrats. I also found that losing a lot of weight caused me to develop the worst body ED I've had in my life. I'm 5'9", and my heaviest was 193 pounds, which is overweight. And I'm currently between 140 to 143 as of now, losing a total of 50 to 53 pounds. Somehow, when I'm out and about or in my daily life, my body ED kicks in, despite losing all that weight in my body as well as my face. But once I see myself in a reflection or look at my face on selfie mode on my camera, it helps me realize that I've actually lost the weight and that I don't look like my old self. I also look at the old selfies and full body photos from before and during the weight loss, which helps me train my mind and tells me I've actually lost the weight. You aren't alone in this. All it takes is some time and training your mind. It helps to look and admire your new body through the journey and take a lot of photos to convince yourself that there is a difference, especially if you were looking at your old body in the mirror almost all your life. Congratulations on your loss. One thing you might want to consider, if you're not aware of it already, is taking a diet break. Periodic breaks can be great for rejuvenation, getting rid of the accumulated mental fatigue from always being in a deficit, dealing with hunger, etc. But they are also really helpful in my experience in giving the changes a chance to settle. I've lost a considerable amount of weight over the last 2 years, 50 kilos, and taking a break to eat maintenance for 2 weeks, roughly once every quarter, has been helpful in acclimating myself to the changes. I've lost so much that I still periodically wrestle with the sense of being alien to myself, paradoxically too small, and yet I also routinely think I'm fatter than I currently am. But eating at maintenance has made it less jarring than it would have been without. It also allows me to eat normally for special occasions and not worry about regaining. What a fantastic milestone to hit. I've only lost 27 pounds so far, and pretty slowly. I often look at my midsection and feel I haven't accomplished a thing. I am guessing it just takes a good while mentally to adjust when these changes are so gradual. We just don't remember being bigger and focus primarily on where we want to be rather than how far we have come. And it just occurred to me I do that in a general whole life way. So thank you for the free therapy today. It will settle. I read that people who have a rhinoplasty sometimes take a long while to adjust to their new look. So just keep on being healthy and we'll get there. I think it's pretty normal to end up pushing your goal weight lower for a variety of reasons. A lot of people, when they're bigger, just can't really visualize how the underlayers of fat are packed in. They see the big picture of how they're very overweight and maybe imagine that the big stomach weighs 50 pounds, and maybe it does, but they don't realize to lose those 50 pounds, they'll also need to lose 20 pounds from elsewhere. So really 70 pounds down is what gets rid of the big gut. And when there's so much big gut on top, you can't really see how you have another 20 pounds after that coming out of the crevices before you start to see muscular shapes. It's hard to appreciate how good you could look until you're closer to it. And that can make you feel fatter because you feel like you've come so far and yet you're still so much further away than you thought you'd be by now. In terms of BMI, how this often plays out is that someone who is significantly obese sets a goal weight in the overweight range, thinking they really can't imagine losing more than that. Then, as they get closer, they start to see how, yeah, there really is more to lose, and push it down to the edge of a healthy weight because now they have the confidence they can actually be in that range. And then, once they get there and still don't think they look as good as they want to do a little more again. But now feel bad about it because they're quote-unquote normal and it shouldn't be necessary. And what if it's never enough? But the thing about BMI is that every human is not equally fit from 18.5 to 25. There's a range so that it accommodates for different frames and different amounts of muscle mass. But most people will probably be at their most ideal weight between about 21 to 23 BMI. Unless you're getting down near 20 and still thinking you're fat, it's probably not an ED. It's probably you naturally recognizing that your body isn't quite at the best place it can be yet. A warning from Luke Narwhal, please see a professional if you think you have an ED. Congratulations on meeting your goals. You're doing amazing. I feel like the mental portion of losing weight is always the hardest part. You have to be in the right mindset to lose the weight, and then you also have to learn to love yourself wherever you are in the process. I suggest being nice to yourself. Remind yourself that losing weight is great for your health. Do you feel better? I've personally only lost about 20 pounds, but for me, that meant that my knees aren't achy anymore, and I have more energy. I also want to caution using BMI as an end-all be-all indicator of health. It can get skewy for people of color, and or anyone that's a little bit taller and more muscular. It's awesome to be out of the obese category, but I'd suggest starting to move your goal weight to a place that's sustainable. As in, you can eat like that forever without obsessively counting calories, and that makes you feel good. I had a friend that was eating at a large deficit of calories to lose a lot of weight, but didn't have any energy, had constant headaches, a lot of tummy issues, and her reason was just so she could hit this arbitrary goal she set for herself. That wasn't sustainable, so even if her BMI said she'd be normal at a certain weight, it wasn't sustainable for her. Just keep that in the back of your mind. Losing weight is awesome. Just remember why you're doing it. You're trying to learn habits that will stick with you for life. It's not so much about the end goal. I'm sure you look amazing, and if you feel amazing, that's the most important part. Good luck. And that brings us to the end of the video, Narwhals. I really hope you enjoyed. If you did, please tap subscribe to join our awesome community, the Narwhals, and for more weight loss stories that help you stay on track. And here's our featured Narwhal of the day. Double chin gone. I'm down 36 pounds and have 20 more to go. It's been slow progress over 2 years, but I've really noticed a difference in my face lately.